Fellow Michiganders, it has been a minute since I've made a video for you guys. I apologize. After COVID happened, the real estate market skyrocketed, and I just had to do everything I could to make sure my clients were taken care of that I was working with. So I apologize for my inconsistency, but I now have a new space. We ended up buying a house during that time, and I now have a new office. So you will start seeing more content from me. Today I wanted to tell you about a lease client that I've been working with. He is looking to rent for $1,300 plus, and he's terrified to purchase a house. And the reason is because he was a part of the 2008 market crash. Now, I was 13 when that happened, but I do have an idea of what times were like. There were some hard times for sure. So I can't really judge on why he sold his house at that time or what he was going through. But just looking at history, I feel that it's the best teacher. And we're in some crazy times right now, right? It's been 12 years since the 2008 crash. We were in a bull market forever. And right now the market's hot. Housing prices are going up. The market is a living, breathing thing. So it's going up and down, up and down. And it's only been going up. So it has to come down to adjust forever. It's not healthy. So there is going to be adjustments. I don't know what those adjustments are going to be, and I don't think there's anyone out there who can tell you what those adjustments would be. It's all speculation. But what I do know is in the market that I'm in, there is a rent crisis. You know, the same client I'm working with that's looking for a house at $1,300 a month, he could have bought that house at $150 and have a mortgage of around $900 a month. $1,300 a month, man, it's hard to find a house. It's harder to find a rental property than it is a purchase in my experience. And so I want to try to decipher why he's scared to buy a house, and is it the right move for him to be scared to buy a house? Should you guys be scared to buy a house right now? And what I can say is, in my personal opinion, no. You need to do everything you can to get out of that rental market. So based off what he told me, his house was worth, let's say, $150 when he bought it. $150K. He ended up selling that house for $42,000 in 2008. Let's make that one. We'll turn that one into blue. So he sold that $42,000. That was in 2008. So if that was his first priority to keep that house when things went bad, and he tried to keep up with that $150,000 mortgage payment, he would have paid off 12 years of equity. 12 years of equity. So 12 years of equity, he would be pretty close to paying that mortgage off depending on when he bought it. Another thing to keep in mind is his appreciation. So that house that he sold for $42,000 in 2008 is very close to my house. And I know that house is worth every bit of $170,000 now. So now it's worth $170,000. $170,000, 12 years later. So he's paid down 12 years of equity. It's now appreciation. It's now appreciated to $170,000. And the last thing we want to look at is cash flow. If he still owned this house, he would be able to go buy another one if he wanted. Let's say he was in the market again. And he'd be able to rent that same house out for the same price that he's out here shopping for, $1,300 a month. I like to call this ACE, like the ace of spades. You have appreciation, cash flow, and equity. So because he sold that house for $42,000, he is scared to buy another house right now because he's scared he's going to buy it at $150,000 and it's going to drop to $42,000. Well, if any of you have bought a house in the last year or two and you bought around this 150 range, and let's say the market took a turn for the worse right now, you need to do everything you can to hold on to that house. Because let's say in another 10 to 15 years, you still have that house, you managed to keep it. You're going to see appreciation, you're going to see equity be paid off your loan, and then in 10 to 15 years, who knows what rent prices are going to be. You're going to be able to get some cash flow. So I feel like these are ways that people never really told us about. You know, when you buy a house and you hear the market crash, you're very upset because now your house is worth nothing. Well, really, your house is still worth something. You need to focus more on what your monthly payment is compared to what you would be paying in rent if you were out there renting that house. And I think people just think when the market crashes or the values drop, that's what their house is going to be worth. That's not the way it goes. It's breathing. It goes up, it goes down. So in 2008, it did drop to $42,000, but that house was only worth $42,000 because that's what a buyer paid him at that time. If he would have kept it, it would be worth $170,000 now. We can't think short term. We have to think long term. And if you look at long term, real estate has always appreciated. So that's the advice I wanted to give you guys. This is a client I'm working with right now. I'm not trying to convince him to buy a house. That is not up to me. But I am going to share this information with him. And I want to share it with you guys too, because times are crazy. If you guys have any questions or you need any resources, please reach out to me. What was the saying? For more action, education, and news, follow me at OHMIRealEstate, where I bring nothing but value to your page.